cinnamon rolls, sweet rolls, donuts, that kind of thing, okay?
Okay.
You do that. Report in, John. We'll stay in touch with you. Don't go away.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
The vocabulary of the average person stops growing by age 25. Your vocabulary is limited. Your potential for success is too. Hi, this is Rush Limbaugh. Verbal Advantage, Achievement Dynamics' powerful audio cassette program, gives you the words you need to succeed. Just by listening, you'll learn word meanings, pronunciation, and usage, plus essential power words to give you confidence in any situation. To learn more, call now, 1-800-28-TAPES. That's 800-28-TAPES.
Imagine meeting 50 people and remembering all their names, having a photographic memory and recalling virtually everything you see, hear, or even think about. Kevin Trudeau, founder of the American Memory Institute, brings you the easy-to-learn Mega Memory. Increase your own memory 500% or more guaranteed. As seen on TV, over 1 million people now benefit from the Mega Memory Home Study Course. Call 1-800-862-MEGA today and receive a 50% discount. That's 1-800-862-MEGA, 1-800-862-MEGA.
Fine looking automobile, isn't it?
Just looking, thanks.
Just rip that price sticker right off that car, forget it was ever there.
Then why'd you bother putting it on?
Oh, they're just for show. I can knock 75, 80 cents off your MSRP without even asking my boss.
Well, thanks,
but you got your factory dealer incentives, your dealer rebate, your discount for National Clean Your Aquarium Out Day.
I'd really just like some time to
Did
think
I
about
mention
this.
it was National Wipe Your Feet Day? We got a sale going on.
Hey, could you just stop hassling me?
Well, shoot, if you want that no-hassle stuff, why don't you go on down to Courtesy Buick GMC in Goldsboro? They got no-hassle buying every day.
Where did you say?
Courtesy Buick GMC on Highway 70 East Bypass in Goldsboro. They got no-hassle buying on a big selection of Buicks and GMCs.
Well, great. Thanks a lot.
Come on down to Courtesy Buick GMC in Goldsboro. No hassles from the sales staff, no high-pressure negotiating, just the lowest bottom-line prices right on the sticker. No hassle buying at Courtesy Buick GMC in Goldsboro. It's a better, easier way to buy a car.
Hey, did I mention our Fuzzy Dice giveaway?
This is a story about American heroes. They changed quite a few lives last year. Jorge Vasquez put out fires, but no, he's not a firefighter. Philip Dale discovered several new stars. Oh, he's not an astronomer. And Elaine Capobianco, she saved a child from drowning, but she's not a lifeguard. They're teachers, but to the kids they've reached, they're heroes.
I'm a teacher. The children are the heroes.
We're not just teaching subject matter, we're teaching human beings.
I am tough as nails, but they know that I love them.
I mean, we've got a legacy that follows behind us forever.
Teachers have the power to make an impact on our future. Reach for that power. Teach. Find out how by calling 1-800-45-TEACH. Be a teacher. Be a hero. 1-800-45-TEACH.
A public service message brought to you by Recruiting New Teachers, the Ad Council, and this station.
Well, my friends, that's our show for today. That's our report on the Excellence in Broadcasting Network for today. As usual, unparalleled, uncompromised broadcasting at its best. It may be ended for the day, but it's never over. We'll be back with more in 21 hours. See you then.
I wish I could play outside with a friend, but my mom says it's too dangerous.
I am at this very moment shredding my thoughts. The Washington Times said the employee who declined to discuss the matter had confided to friends that the shredding had taken place and that he was scared to death about it. Well, that's an interesting choice of words, scared to death about it. Just ask Vince Foster. Now, the paper also, in this massive story, the Washington Times, which I have right here, my friend, right there it is, the paper quoted an unidentified female friend of the second employee as saying that he told her there was anxiety over the possibility Rose employees could be fired because the shredding had become known. Clark said that the firm's employees are under no gag order or anything else, so they can speak freely. Clark now runs the firm. In fact, In fact, he knows where they can talk to. It's a pretty little place. Vince Foster used to jog past. It's called Fort Marcy Park. He says, you want to go talk in the park. This is an amazing story, and the mainstream press has picked it up. It's all over the Associated Press today. In fact, I was walking down the hall here to begin my daily service to humanity, you, and I heard the ABC Network News doing a story about this. So the lid's off, and this is something about which there will, by virtue of necessity, be comments on from the president. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion here that I've said this before, so I don't mind repeating it. I really think this is a Hillary deal. I think most of what is in this, she was at the law firm, she worked at the law firm, and I guarantee you, like I said on television last night, after the CBO came out and said, hey, this whole thing is a ruse. And I've got details, by the way, for you later on today about this whole CBO analysis of the Clinton health care plan. Basically, it's going to end up being 25% larger than Social Security is today. It'll be 25% larger than the largest entitlement program in American history. There's also a story they've looked into. Some people have looked into a specific area of the budget document that was released the other day. It's a little noticed appendix, and it's entitled Generational Accounting. And this appendix looks at what each generation can expect to pay in average net lifetime tax rates. And Americans born after 1992 can expect net tax rates of 82% during the course of their lifetime to pay for the massive debt that is accumulating now because of our profligate deficit spending. Have you ever stopped to consider, ladies and gentlemen, why everybody, since this budget's been presented, have you ever stopped to consider why everybody in this administration is talking about this is the leanest budget in years? This is like Jim Sasser of deficit fame. Jim Sasser of the Budget Committee in the Senate, he's a senator from Tennessee, he's talking about the deficit. He said this is the biggest penny pinching budget in years and the deficit is lower now than it's been in a long time. The deficit, this. You ever stop to consider why these guys are acting like the deficit's solved? We have a deficit projected. Now, this is projected, a deficit projected of $165 billion. Don't forget what the 1992 election was all about. Runaway spending, uncontrollable spending, deficits way too high. That's what Ross Perot rode to fame. And so now these guys are claiming, after 1 year in office, and now a little over 1 month of their plan being implemented, only a month plus 4 days, 9 days of their plan being implemented, these guys are claiming the deficit monster's been slayed. You ever wonder why? They want you to forget about that now. They want you to look past it. The deficit's fixed, so now that you can accept more spending, you will expect more government programs. You'll be happy to move on to other things. It's all a ruse. The deficit today and the deficit projections for the future are larger than the deficits were the last 3 years of the 80s, the last 3 years of the Reagan administration. Now, this generational accounting appendix in the federal budget tells a story of lifetime tax rates getting higher for each generation and shows that the Clinton budget continues a trend that threatens to turn future generations into indentured servants to the national debt. Now, here's the history of this. Americans born in 1900, for example, faced, over the course of their lifetimes, an average net tax rate of 23.6%. While those born in 1940, many of whom are still living today, can expect to pay an average net tax rate of 31.9% over the course of their working lives. For those of you born in 1970, for you punks, you MTV people, you college students, you youngsters out there, we love having you in the audience, by the way. I use the punks term loosely, just like I call everybody idiots instead of saying guys. I'd never really mean idiots. You'll know it when I mean it. For those of you born in 1970, the average net tax rate that you will pay over the course of your working life, 36.5%. And this has been figured out using current budget figures and projections of future budget figures, spending, revenues, and so forth, that people born last year, 1992, will end up paying a net tax rate of 82% over the course of their working lives. They're not going to tolerate it. They're just not going to tolerate it. And you think the Menendez brothers is bad. You think child abuse, or you think child abuse is an excuse for murdering your parents and getting away with it? By the way, they lied about it. There's a big story in Vanity Fair. Dominic Dunn has done some research. The Menendez brothers are some of the biggest skunk liars in the world. And who believed them? Who believed them? A bunch of suburban liberal women just bought into everything these guys had to say. Oh, remind me to tell the story. I talked to Norman Lear yesterday. Remind me of just sometime during the course of the show, just say Norman Lear. And it will vividly return to the fertile memories of my mind. Where was I? Oh, yes. If you think that the Menendez brothers' false claims of child abuse warrant the murder of your parents, wait until your kids discover that their tax rate over the course of their working lives is going to be 82%. You parents out there are going to be targets like parents have never been targets. Oh, I'll tell you, we have only just begun today, folks, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
There's no free lunch in America, especially when you're in sales. You've got to maximize every opportunity and strike when your prospects are hot. That's why more and more of America's sales superstars are using a new secret weapon, Maximizer for Windows. Easy-to-use Maximizer software instantly turns your PC into a sales command center, tracking every detail of your customer contacts, managing your schedule, speeding correspondence, alerting you when it's time to send a letter or make a call, and systematically moving your prospects toward a buying decision so you close sale after sale after sale like you've never done before. Maximizer users report doubling, even tripling their business. No wonder PC Magazine awarded Maximizer the highest score of any contact manager for Windows, and Mobile Office Magazine named it Contact Manager of the Year. In fact, we're so sure you love Maximizer that we'll make you an incredible guarantee. Use Maximizer for a whole year. If you don't close more sales than you ever thought possible, send it back and we'll refund your money. No questions asked. To order or for more information, call Delaware at 1-800-OFFER-94. Write it down, 1-800-OFFER-94. For a limited time, get free next-day shipping. Call 1-800-OFFER-94 or visit your nearest CompUSA, Computer City, Egghead, or other fine retailer today.
There are great deals at Leith Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle Leith Dodge Isuzu. How about a 1994 Dodge Caravan, only $16,961, or a 94 Dodge Shadow, only $91,995. Check out the 94 Dodge Dakota Club Cab, as low as just $15,995. All prices plus tax, tags, and dock fee now at Leith Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle Leith Dodge Isuzu, plus hundreds of others to choose from now at Leith, Highway 70 West, Goldsboro. Need furniture? Need credit? Need them now? Waynesboro Furniture has a plan that will answer those questions and more, with special pay plans for those who need it now, including military E1 and up. Contact Waynesboro Furniture and find out how you can get automatic approval and quick delivery without delay. Living room, dining room, bedroom furniture, and mattresses. Buy now, delivery now, and pay later. Get complete details at Waynesboro Furniture, your mattress outlet, 119 North Center Street, downtown Goldsboro.
If you're a self-employed or small business owner, then grab a pencil and write this number down. 1-800-331-NASE. You'll be calling the National Association for the Self-Employed. NASE is one of the largest group associations in the U.S. Here are just some of the benefits you'll enjoy as a member. A true voice in Washington. Travel benefits, free small business consultancy, and up to 45% off computers and software. Now, there are many more benefits, but the most popular one is the NASE-endorsed health insurance. Under underwritten by PFL Life Insurance Company. You'll receive your choice of doctors and hospitals anywhere in the world. You can't be singled out for rate increases or cancellations. For more information from the field services of the National Association for the Self-Employed, call 1-800-331-NASE. That number again is 1-800-331-NASE. Join the group that's looking out for you, the National Association for the Self-Employed. The number to call right now is 1-800-331-NASE.
Ba-ba-doo-bee-doo, ba-ba-doo-doo, ba. The only information superhighway you will ever need. The Rush Limbaugh program, the Turnpike of Truth, no tolls. It's Rush Limbaugh and the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. You've seen this? Two stories. First off, Fidel Castro says it's not possible that Bill Clinton would play around on his wife. Fidel Castro, yes, it's in the late. It's not possible. This was yesterday. Fidel Castro said, I think this is also in a Vanity Fair story. Fidel Castro says that Hillary is too beautiful. She's too attractive. There is no way, there is no reason that Bill Clinton would stray to find love elsewhere. Then today, Castro has amended his view. Conjecture about President Clinton's sexual history is a violation of his human rights, says Fidel Castro. Yes. Castro said in the March issue of Vanity Fair, it's an interference in his personal life. It's a violation of human rights. It's kind of like when we endeavor to find the boot camps, the work camps, the death camps in Cuba that Castro has set up. That is a violation of Castro's human rights to try to discover those. However, Castro had this caveat. There are many countries, he said, this is an actual quote, there are many countries where it is a good idea for the candidate, in order to be elected, to have a lot of girlfriends. Then Castro was asked how many children he has. He says, well, fewer than a dozen, I think. So there you have it from one of the most respected world leaders. Bill Clinton, it's not possible that he would stray. Hillary Clinton is too beautiful. And then, on the other hand, it's a violation of his human rights to go into his sexual history. He says there are many countries where it's a good idea for the candidate, in order to be elected, to have a lot of girlfriends. We have a quick break. When we come back, a couple more things in the news, then to your phone calls. Stay there.
You know there are only 44 sounds in the English language. 44. And when you learn these 44 sounds called phonics, you can read and spell almost everything. That's why Hooked on Phonics is so successful. We've set these 44 sounds to music, making learning to read simple and fun. So get hooked on phonics and take the mystery out of learning to read. Call 1-800-ABCDEF.
This is WGBR News, Goldsboro's very own.
This is Wayne Alley. Planner Connie Price told the Wayne County Planning Board he'd like to hold community meetings in late March or early April to explain the results of the county land use survey and to get more public input. That is, if the results of the survey are in hand by the March 8th meeting of the Planning Board, as currently anticipated. Price wants to hold community meetings in middle schools including Norwayne, Rosewood, Grantham, Brogdon, Spring Creek, and Eastern Wayne.
Explain what the results of the survey were and gives anybody else that wants to comment just to talk on whatever they want to talk on about it a chance to speak. It's not really a public hearing where we would be presenting a certain case or whatever, and they'd be speaking pro or against. They could get up and speak their mind. If we want to divide up in groups and talk about certain issues, we can do that.
Wayne County Planner Connie Price. The winning Southern Wayne Quiz Bowl team got special congratulations at the regular meeting of the Wayne Board of Education. Southern Wayne won out over last year's defending champion, Eastern Wayne. A search committee composed of Chairman Yvonne Goodman and members Margaret Dupree, Floyd McCulloch, Ken Gerard, W.D. McRoy, and Dr. A.O. Mays will lead the way in finding a successor to Dr. Jerry Edwards, the director of the Wayne Mental Health Center. Dr. Edwards will assume duties March 1st as the Chief of Mental Health Services for the State Division of Mental Health, Developmentally Disturbed, and Substance Abuse Services. Ted Gowan, the Eastern Region Personnel Director, will address the search committee in its first meeting tomorrow. Gowan will outline the advertising, interview, and application review process and the criteria for selecting a director. State statute requires the Area Mental Health Board to select a new director. A proposal to increase the sum paid by the town of Mount Olive to employees using their private vehicles in their work was put on hold until town board members have had an opportunity to study the town's travel ordinance. It was proposed to boost the reimbursement from the current 26 cents per mile to 28 cents. This was proposed because the town board understands that the IRS now allows employees to claim 28 cents per mile. Mayor Lewis Pate said the board will decide what action to take after reviewing the travel ordinance. Mount Olive Pickle Company has petitioned the town board asking to close portions of Witherington, Brock, and West Center Street, and a public hearing has been set for March 7th. The company wants to fence that area for security reasons. And a public hearing will be held the same night on the request of Earl Rayner to close a section of Johnson Street that actually has never been opened. Johnson Street parallels Rayner's property at the corner of Johnson and Franklin Streets. I'm Wayne Alley.
Cloudy skies and a chance of showers in the forecast today. Later today, possibly some thunderstorms. Highs this afternoon in the 70s, believe it or not, and still very windy. Rain tonight, possibly some freezing rain toward morning along the Virginia border. Lows in the mid-30s in the north and 40s southward. Precipitation should be ending by midday tomorrow. Temperatures will stay steady in the mid-30s in the north and low to mid-40s southward. I'm Bill Schmidt at the Weather Center.
WGBR.
He was just lying there on the grassy knoll with a gun in his side. There was no blood. There was no blood at all.
Oliver Stone presents Vince Foster, the movie. Who was Vince Foster? Did he really commit suicide? What was his connection with Whitewater? What was his relationship with the First Lady? What was in those missing White House files? Oliver Stone, Hollywood's first investigative director, answers these questions, plus reveals the real story behind the scandals. Vince Foster, the movie. Starring Eva Perón as Hillary Clinton, Jim Nabors as Bill Clinton, Macaulay Culkin as Steffi Stephanopoulos. Janet Reno plays herself, with a special appearance by Lennon's Body as Vince Foster. Vince Foster, the film, coming soon to a theater near you.
There was no blood at all.
They're the modern White House family. From the town of Little Rock, they are messing up history. Let's ride with the Clinton down the street. Drive through and get something big to eat. Now you're with the Clintons. They are gonna tax it to ya. They're gonna do ya. They love the gays all the time.
On the cutting edge of societal evolution, Rush Limbaugh in a never-ending, relentless pursuit of the truth. And when we find it, we find it. Glad you're with us, my good friends. 1-800-282-2882. Here is the important information. Here are the data on a CBO analysis of the Clinton health care plan. It is the largest entitlement program ever, 25% larger than the current Social Security system. By the year 2004, the president's health reform will cost $100 billion more than Social Security will cost in that year. Robert Reichauer, the Fifth Reich. As you know, the Third Reich, the Nazis. The Fourth Reich, Robert B. Reich. And now the Fifth Reich, Robert Reichauer of the CBO, said that the president's health, said that Donna Shalala's testimony in October that the administration was allowing a $45 billion cushion in case its numbers for health care reform didn't add up? Don't add up, said Rush Hour. His office's math showed that there was absolutely no such cushion available in the budget whatsoever. In fact, as we announced yesterday on this program, the Congressional Budget Office shows that Clinton and his plan would increase the deficit by $70 billion rather than decreasing it by $58 billion, as the administration has claimed and has promised. What's good about this is that the American people understand taxes. They understand the cost of doing business by the federal government in terms of taxes. The Clintons have constantly lied. They have sought to deceive with fraud and deceit the scope of this plan, and the president continued so yesterday. He said in Shreveport, after being informed of Robert Reischauer's analysis, "Our plan does not put the government in control of health care. What it does is reduce the control of insurance companies and give more influence to workers and businesses." BS! Barbara Streisand. And a CBO report proves it. This is 100% government takeover of health care. And they are going to mandate and create a program $100 billion more expensive by the year 2004 than Social Security will cost. I also found it great that Clinton said this is just a bunch of policy wonks saying this at the CBO. If there is a policy wonk in Washington, it's Bill Clinton. And if there was one guy who has given credibility to whatever the CBO says, it's Bill Clinton. He did it on February 17th, 1993, in his first speech to a joint session of Congress. So there you have it, my friends. So things are not going well. Things appear to be unraveling. The Slick Willie of old will have to return, if he indeed has ever gone away, in order to recast all of this as misinformation by the press, policy wonks running amok in Washington, the Whitewater stuff now with the shredding of documents. There are all kinds of new theories evolving about Vince Foster. Have you heard this one? That Foster may have indeed committed suicide, but didn't do it in Fort Marcy Park, but rather committed suicide in his office, in the White House. And they moved the body to Fort Marcy Park specifically because Park Police would be the #1 investigative team there, and also to clean up the mess in the White House. If you stop and think the timing of this death, July 20th, they're right on the verge, they're right in the middle of the debate on the economic plan, the budget deal, and they're coming right off the heels of the Travelgate scandal. Can you imagine what would have happened had it been announced that Vince Foster committed suicide in the White House, in his office? So they get in there, they don't seal the office for a couple of days while people can do whatever they want in there, including remove documents and files. And now those files are under subpoena, so nobody knows really what's, and those files were kept secret for 5 months. They weren't even discovered as having existed until December. So from July to December, the files in Foster's office could have had anything done to them. And what files were not tampered with obviously contain no damaging information. They've been turned over to the Justice Department. And now, 2 employees of the Rose Law Firm, speaking under anonymity, are saying that the firm ordered them to shred documents last week that linked the Clintons to Whitewater and Madison Guarantee Savings Club. This is real serious stuff. And the mainstream press hasn't been on the front edge of any of it. The mainstream press has been the tail of the dog here, and they have been reluctant to get involved, and I don't know how they can avoid it now. I don't know how the mainstream press, I guarantee you in newsrooms around the country, in the New York Times, at the Washington Post, Time, Newsweek, maybe some of the networks, they're gnashing their teeth and wringing their hands, saying, oh, damn it, I guess we have to look into it now. Damn it, I guess we have to report some of this stuff now. Because once the Washington Times stuff appeared on the Associated Press, that means everybody picks it up. Radio stations, television stations, newspapers in large cities, medium-sized cities, small cities, everybody picks it up. It's all over everywhere now. So tomorrow, we should expect to see some unique angle in the New York Times, in the Washington Post, and on the networks. Or we could see nothing. They could say, Washington Times, a biased conservative rag. We're not going to let them determine what we put in our paper. National Enquirer, William Kennedy Smith, let's run with it. The sources they choose to legitimize strangely omit the conservative-oriented publications in America. The president, when confronted in Shreveport about the CBO deficit figures, it's not a problem. Not a problem at all. We'll fix that. We'll send the papers to Little Rock. I know this place down there. We can send a CBO report. They can handle it down there. Just pretend it didn't happen. I guarantee you, it's going to be interesting to watch the president's reaction to this. Well, this is no big deal. What's new here? There's nothing here. Nobody's accused me of anything. I haven't done anything. I guarantee you, behind closed doors. See, Mrs. Clinton was supposed to have come up with this foolproof method of getting this health care plan passed along as a fraudulent and phony document. It was supposed to be passed along as not a government program, but rather a revamping of the private insurance agency and private health care system. And I guarantee you, behind closed doors, they get those 500 people down there. Nobody knew. They did all this secret stuff behind closed doors, violating some laws. And somebody's going to go to her and say, what the hell were you thinking? Lonnie Guinier, law professor Lonnie Guinier, says she has not heard from President Clinton since he ditched her as a candidate for federal civil rights chief 8 months ago. And she's out there complaining, saying, he ain't even called me. At least, I tell you, she ought to be thankful. At least she wasn't left with AstroTurf burns on her back like most of the women Clinton won't call today.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
My friends, the entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well. Many listeners of this program are proving it every month. You know how? By starting their own Floor Coverings International franchise. They are becoming part of the fastest growing carpet retailer in history. Ranked #1 franchise in their category by Entrepreneur Magazine, FCI is revolutionizing the floor coverings industry by bringing samples directly to customers' homes and offices, which eliminates the overhead of a retail store. And why don't you join them? With FCI's support, you'll be in business for yourself, but not by yourself, and that's a key. There are opportunities available all over the country, and you can start realizing your dreams of independence for as little as $25,000. For information about an FCI franchise of your own, call Floor Coverings International at 800-DIAL-FCI. That's 1-800-DIAL-FCI.
If you got...
I can knock 75, 80 cents off your MSRP without even asking my boss.
Well, thanks,
but you got your factory dealer incentives, your dealer rebate, your discount for National Clean Your Aquarium Out Day.
I'd really just like some time to
Did I mention it was National Wipe Your Feet Day? We got a sale going on.
Hey, could you just stop hassling me?
Well, shoot, if you want that no-hassle stuff, why don't you go on down to Courtesy Buick GMC in Goldsboro? They got no-hassle buying every day.
Where did you say?
Courtesy Buick GMC on Highway 70 East Bypass in Goldsboro. They got no-hassle buying on a big selection of Buicks and GMCs.
Well, great. Thanks a lot.
Come on down to Courtesy Buick GMC in Goldsboro. No hassles from the sales staff, no high-pressure negotiating, just the lowest bottom-line prices right on the sticker. No hassle buying at Courtesy Buick GMC in Goldsboro. It's a better, easier way to buy a car.
Hey, did I mention our Fuzzy Dice giveaway?
You'll have to excuse my friends. They just got great deals on waterbeds at Dream Makers, and they couldn't wait to try them out. Dream Makers has exactly what you need for a good night's sleep, including a complete line of bedding accessories, and the prices are so good, they won't keep you awake either. My friends here can tell you what Dream Makers can do, and I guess they are. Try them and see. Dream Makers, 1003 Berkeley Boulevard, Goldsboro.
The UNC Tar Heels take on the surprise team of the ACC, the Maryland Terrapins, tomorrow night, beginning at 7:30. WGBR will bring you all the action live from Blue Heaven. Tar Heel basketball is brought to you locally by Sportsman's World, Waco Ham Deli, Wooten Oil Company, Crawford Henderson Insurance, Lawrence Travel Agency, Leith Chrysler Plymouth, and Moffett Oil Company. The Heels and the Terps tomorrow night at 7:30, right here on Goldsboro's very own 1150 WGBR.
One 800-282-2882, Rocky Point, Long Island, and Frank is where we begin on the phones. Hi, Frank.
Hi, how you doing, Rush?
I am fine, sir. Thanks for the call.
Ditto's from Long Island.
Great to hear from you, sir.
I'm glad I got through.
Thank you. Don't have to yell. You're not that far away.
Okay, Rush, listen, I was wondering, what do you think Ross Perot's next move's going to be with the healthcare situation now?
Well, I'll tell you what I would do if I were 5'2" and the little general. If I were Ross Perot, you know what I would do now that the CBO has said what it said? Remember, what is the only reason Perot was able to come to the fore? He was able to come to the fore by making a point of how our government is spending us into oblivion, and that there's no accountability for that spending. The deficit is running wild. Spending continues, tax increases continue, and unless we get that deficit and federal spending under control, that we're sacrificing our future and our children and grandchildren, all that. And people know this. This is one of these things I call a back pocket understandable issue to people, because people live their lives and know they can't run deficits in their own lives, or they go to jail, or they have their stuff that they don't pay for repossessed. So people understand that you can't do it. People understand that you cannot have a prolonged prosperity built on debt, especially people who lived during the Great Depression and who lived during World War II. So, what Perot has been missing is that issue. He bombed out on NAFTA. He tried, his mistake there was siding with the wrong people for the wrong reasons. He should have been on the side of the average working American and been for NAFTA, because NAFTA is going to benefit the average working American. Instead, Perot sided with the average working American and tried to make him think this is a continuation of Washington shunning you and not caring about you and relegating you to the ash heap. Now he's got a perfect opening, because the CBO, he was going to come back with health care. You're right, Frank. He was going to oppose health care on the basis we can't afford it. Now he's got the perfect opening to come back. If I were Perot, I would say, don't listen to these people tell you they got a penny-pinching budget. Don't listen to these people tell you they got the deficit under control. Don't listen to these people tell you that they got spending down. They haven't done a thing. This is all smoke and mirrors. This budget is growing at twice the rate of inflation. Your income isn't growing that fast, I guarantee you. Mine isn't. Nobody's income is growing at twice the rate of inflation. No salaried or wage-earning American's income is. So he's got a perfect opening to go back to right what it was that got him where he is. See? I care. I have just here, free of charge, advised Perot what to do. And that's what he's going to do. You watch, because that's where he shines. That's where he doesn't need any notes. That's where he doesn't need any prepared remarks. He doesn't need any advisors. NAFTA, he didn't know the issue. That's why he got blown away in that debate. He didn't know the issue. Didn't understand the details. He tried to do NAFTA the way Larry King does his show every day. No preparation. And you see what happened. Thanks, Frank, for the call. Hey, a couple programming notes. Tonight, I am going to be Al Roker's first guest on his new show on CNBC. They're starting the new approach to talk on CNBC, and Al Roker, who is you know who this guy is. He's one of the most lovable and liked individuals in media today. He's weatherman here in New York at WNBC Channel 4 at 5, 6, and 11 p.m. He occasionally substitutes for Willard Scott on the Today Show. He does the Saturday Today Show. The guy does nothing but work. It's kind of like me. And now he's taken on this Wednesday night show on CNBC at 8 o'clock. I have been asked to be his first guest. And so I'm going to do that tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, CNBC, right before Equal Time with Mary Madeline and another chick. Then, tomorrow night, I will be the guest on Later with Bob Costas. Now, we did an hour and a half. I had my trusty chief of staff call him today, lobby for 2 shows out of this, because Costas wanted to make it a deuce. Costas wanted to make it 2 shows, and they've had all their other guests scheduled, and they just can't broom into their other guests. And these are late-minute additions to the Costas lineup because this new guy taking over later is starting 2 weeks late because of the earthquake out in California, Greg Kinnear. So he's not ready to go yet, so they asked Costas to do a couple of extra weeks, and I was the last guest they had, and everybody else done. So I don't know what it is they're going to use. We spent 25 minutes talking about race and conservatism and race, and God, I would love for people to hear that. I would absolutely love people to hear that conversation, and I don't think they're going to use that. I think they're going to use some stuff that we got to talk about my personal life and other things that few people ask. Whatever they use is going to be good, but it's a shame that they're not going to use it all. That's Thursday night on Later at 1:30 a.m. Eastern. And then Friday night on Nightline, if this holds. You know, with this shredding story, who knows what's going to happen now. But Nightline is slated on Friday to do a story on environmentalism and the status of it. Are the Chicken Littles, the sky is falling crowd winning, or are those who object to them, typified by me, gaining supporters as well? Now, I'm not on the show as a guest, but they always do a package which sets up the show at the beginning of the show. They came out yesterday to my TV studio and did 20 minutes with them after I taped TV show last night. And a portion of that will be on Nightline Friday night. So those are the next 3 appearances I have on programs other than my own that are slated. We'll take a quick break and be back with more calls after this.
You're listening to the EIB Network. Who was the first to warn conservatives that Bill Clinton may have a virtual lock on re-election in 1996? Who was quick to expose the real Anita Hill? Who told the truth about the David Koresh debacle and Hillary's health care scam? And who dug deep to produce the unauthorized Clinton financial audit? The American Spectator, the country's most fearless news magazine. The one over 500,000 conservative thinkers rely on every month for fact-based news and commentary they can't find anywhere else. Call 800-767-1100 now and get a free trial issue of the American Spectator. If you like it, receive 1 full year for just $34.95. Otherwise, cancel on the spot, but keep the free issue. Call 800-767-1100. That's 800-767-1100. The American Spectator. Isn't it time you took a free look? Call 800-767-1100 now.
Who's on your side when you buy a home? The realtor? The mortgage lender? Don't you need someone in your corner? Global Inspection Corporation can be your best friend. They can use their 21 years building experience to inspect your prospective home and let you know what's good and what's a potential problem. An inspected home can ease worries about financing and insurance problems. Best of all, you know your home will live up to your expectations. To help you through the home buying jungle, call 689-2304 for Global Inspection Corporation.
A card, a rose, chocolates, and Mylar balloons. All of these and more at Toby's Hallmark Shop, Berkeley Mall. Your choice of hundreds of Hallmark cards, a live rose, delicious chocolates, Mylar helium balloons. The Love Bandit or other stuffed animals are ready for your selection at Toby's Hallmark Shop. Chocolates from $2.99, balloons $1.99, Love Bandit $8.95. When you carry enough to give the very best for your Valentine, visit Toby's Hallmark Shop, Berkeley Mall, Goldsboro.
Mugu?
Yeah, Lloyd.
Listen, I have an idea that could radically advance civilization as we know it.
Hey, we're prehistoric men. Let's not get fancy.
Now, imagine this. We come back to the cave after a long day of berry gathering and woolly mammoth hunting.
Yeah.
We put our feet up on a rock and relax by a roaring fire.
Fire? What's that?
That's a hot burning thing we can use to cook.
The woolly mammoth?
No, the berries.
Where'd we get this fire?
Well, we invented it. You see, all we need is some flint to make sparks, and they got loads of flint over in Thor's village.
No, we don't want to have to talk to them. They're old, a different color, they're bad dancers.
All right, we'll go to the Valley of the Sophies then.
Women? You want to deal with women? They're not like us. Forget it.
Hey, listen, if this fire thing works, we're talking big bucks.
Okay, maybe that new immigrant tribe has flint.
You want to talk to foreigners? Hey, I'd rather talk to the tribe that uses wheelchairs.
Okay, forget it. Fire is probably a stupid idea. Let's just eat our berries cold.
Oh, good. Pass the cream.
Where'd you get that fire idea?
I heard some guys in the Worsley tribe talking about
No
it.
wonder. What do bald guys know?
The Leadership Conference Education Fund and the Advertising Council remind you that our strength, our progress depend on our diversity.
I was reading in the paper today, there's a story about Al Roker's new show and my being the first guest on it. You know, Al felt the need to defend his choice of me as guest. When you live in New York, mecca of liberalism, and the press calls you and says, Limbaugh, what do you have in Limbaugh on your show? Well, you know, I don't agree with everything he says. So Al did his duty. He let it be known to his liberal buddies, hey, you know, I don't agree with anything this guy says. I don't agree with much of this guy says. I don't agree with much, but he's a great entertainer. So, I got some questions for Al tonight. I have some questions for Al. Yes. Houston, this is Don. Hello, welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program.